Hi friends, next we can go through Unit 30 of BFM, RA, ROC and Profit Planning. Firstly, before discussing, please share, subscribe and share to maximum friends and tell them to subscribe. It will be a support to me. Profit planning involves balance sheet management covering credit, investments and non-fund based income. So bank's income arises from interest income, fee-based income and treasury income. Interest income arises from lending as well as investments in security bonds. Our security bond portfolio is taken care by SLR. So SLR mostly consists of government security, that is investment by banks in government securities, bonds like bonds, etc. Then but yield on government securities are lower but are risk free. So RBI insists banks to invest in SLR portfolio as security. Interest income is highly rated on highly rated corporate debt is less than interest income on low rated corporate debt. So banks are required to have a proper blending of investment in government security and credit portfolio to maximum profit. Since credit portfolio is having higher risk and government securities are lower risk, but yield is lesser in government securities compared to credit portfolio. So banks have to blend these to maximize its profit. Investment in securities and lending is the first section in this bank's method of maximizing profit. For example, a bank has 1,000 rupees in it can invest or lend. Consider four scenarios here. This is a table. So first case is invest in government security. Its yield is 6% whereas risk weight is 0. Second case, lending to AAA rated customer. Yield is 8%, risk weight is 20%. Lending to AA rated customer. Yield is 10%, risk weight is 50. Here you can see as the rating goes up, interest income reduces. So double rated customer yield is 10% whereas risk weight is 50. The fourth one, lending to A rated customer, Y equal to 12%, yield is 12%, risk weight is 100%. So we can invest in these four portfolios. So bank is going to invest is 1,000 rupees. So first method, bank can invest in whole 1,000 rupees in the first portfolio, that is investment in government securities. Here only 6% yield. Next, bank can put its 400 rupees in first case and 600 in second case and nothing in the other. Third scenario, bank can invest 300 in first, 300 in second, 400 in third and nothing in fourth. Like that, in fourth scenario, bank can invest 300 in first, 300, then 200, then 200. So the sum total of all this is 1,000 rupees. Now yield, we can find yield from of each scenario. In first case, yield is 6% into 1,000 equal to 60 rupees. Here yield is 60 rupees from 1,000 rupees. Here yield is 6% of 400 plus 8% of 600 equal to 24 plus 48 is 72 rupees. In third case, yield is 6% of 300, 8% of 300 plus 10% of 400 is 82 rupees, and the fourth case it is 86 rupees. We can see that as investment this 1,000 is divided among different portfolios, the yield increases from 60 to 86. So bank has to blend its investment in different portfolios. That's what this depicts. Then yield percentage is here 6%, 7.2%, 8.2%, here 8.6%. That is 60 by 1,000 into 100 is 6%. Risk weight is here first case risk A is 0, next risk weight is 20 and so on. So risk weight is 0% of 1,000, that is 0. In second case it is 400 into 0% plus 600 into 20%. It's rupees 120, next case 260 and next case 360. So as the income increased to 86, risk also increased to 360. So we have to increase our capital. So capital required is 8%. At 8% is So our CRAR is 8%. So here we have to make zero capital for government security, 9.6 rupees. That is 8% of 120 is 9.6. 8% of 260 is 20.8 and 8% of 360 is 28.8. So we have to increase our capital to this much. So that's why government security is better, but yield is lower, whereas risk is also lower. But we have to allot more capital if the risk is higher. And this question was asked in exam. That is, if risk increases while lending to lower rated customers, resulting in an increase in need for capital. NPA do not generate income and bring down yield on advance. Also, it increases need of additional capital. So, an impact of NPA is twofold. It needs additional capital, whereas it generates no income. It brings down the yield. Income from fee-based activities guarantee lossy bills, etc. Income from treasury is the main income by trading in securities, forex equities, etc. This provides large income to bank, but it is very risky. For example, in 90s, Baring Bank is a UK-based bank, British bank, collapsed due to speculative trading of Nikkei futures on Tokyo Exchange. So, if we trade speculatively, it's very risky. The bank may go to collapsing. So, income from treasury is higher but very risky. Second is expense. Now we have dealt with income. Next is expense. Interest expense, operating expense. Interest expense is CA. Our current account is interest free. SP and TD, we have to pay lower interest and it is deregulated in India. SP have lower interest. SP short term, TD is long term. Savings bank term deposit. And it is deregulated from 25/10/2011. Interest is paid on daily product basis. So banks have to improve low cost current account and SB account deposits. So if we have to, bank has to improve the CA and SB. Interest rates on TD are decided by market forces. Next is operating cost. Staff cost and other cost comes in operating cost. Profitability is a function of 6 variables: interest income, fee-based income, trading income, interest expense, staff expense, other operating expense. Here the first three: interest income, fee-based income, trading income. We have to maximize first three, whereas we have to minimize staff expense, other operating expense, interest expense. So we can maximize the profit. Risk aggregation and capital allocation. Here we are dealing with RAROC. Banks are required to aggregate risk exposures. Most common approach is RAROC. That is first kind of approach, risk adjusted return on capital. Each risk is measured using VAR, value at risk, to determine expected and unexpected losses. Here we determine expected and unexpected losses using VAR. In RAROC, key to RAROC is matching revenue, cost and risk on transaction or portfolio basis over a defined time period. Here we have to match revenue, cost, risk, etc. And this is key to RAROC. Expected losses covered by specific reserves and provisions. We have specific reserves and provisions which covers our expected losses, whereas we have to allocate capital for unexpected losses. So that's here we have we have allocated this much capital because of we don't know whether we will have loss or not. EAR is earnings at risk. This approach, the second approach, is based on cash flows and ignores value changes in assets and liabilities due to change in market interest rates. So this method is not used like RAROC. RAROC is mainly used for this matching revenue and cost. Risk capital. RAROC is a part of RAPM, risk adjusted performance measure. Consider two traders, each retained a profit of $10 million and over the last year. So each has profit of $10 million. This question is asked in December 2019 exam. So how do we compare their performance? And first one is a forex trader, whereas second is a bond trader. Bond trader deals in large amounts, say $200 million, but with a lower volatility at 4% per annum. Forex trader has a large $200 million transaction and 12% volatility per annum. Here risk capital can be compared using VAR measures at 99%. level over a year. Forex trader risk capital equal to VAR equal to $100 million into 12 by 100 into 2.33, that is 99% confidence level. So it's equal to $28 million. RIPM is profit by RC, risk capital, that's equal to $10 million by $28 million. For bond trader, RC equal to 200 million into 4 by 100 into 2.33, it's $90 million. RIPM is $10 million by 19 million, is 0.5263. So this forex trader has less RIPM than bond trader. That is, bond trader is performing better than forex trader. To check whether a product or project is better, we can use EVA, economic value added, equal to profit minus capital into K, where K is a discount rate. So that's all, friends, from this chapter. Thank you.